Okay, so let's take a quick peek at TradingView. Let's look at the dollar, the Dixie, and Bitcoin. So clearly we've got two charts. So you see right here, I'm up on the top chart. When price action falls below the SMA 50, take a look down. That's when the dollar is above the SMA 50. So again, when price action for the Dixie, and I'm looking down on the bottom chart, when price action is above the SMA 50, that means there's strength in the dollar. And then up here, I'm looking at Bitcoin up top, and you can see that price action fell below as an example. Here's a perfect example. Yeah, let's do this because this is exactly the timing. You can see my crosshairs. This is a classic example right here. When price action for Bitcoin falls below the SMA 50, see that? Look right here. So for price action for the dollar, it jumped above the SMA 50. So one more time. When Bitcoin is getting weak, price action falls below the SMA 50. You can see how the SMA 50 is turning red, price action's below. But then for the Dixie, we had price action jump above the 50 SMA, which also turned green. So you see the correlation there? So you can see, for example, price action for the Dixie is strong, and then which means that price action for Bitcoin is getting weak. And then last thing, let's look at price action right here. So right now, price action for Bitcoin at time of recording on the weekly time frame is above the 50 SMA. I'm currently in a trade as we speak at time of recording. And why is that? And that's because price action for the Dixie is below the SMA 50. And this is one of the ways that I tell in terms of the overall strength for Bitcoin or lack thereof. So hopefully that was helpful. Discover the pattern, accelerate your learning, all in 3 minutes. What do I mean by 3 minutes? On the 50 SMA and the 15 EMAs, the patterns, what we're looking for is these crossovers as an example. And if you have a monitor in your house that you can use and set it to a 3-minute time frame, we've been talking about the bigger time frames like the weekly and the 3-day. Well, that's really for trading. But to accelerate your learning curve, it's the 3-minute. And here's why. If you have a monitor laying around the house, turn it on the 3-minute, have the 15 EMA and the 50 SMA on there. And I want you to just glance at it throughout the day. Literally, if you're walking by it, just glance at it. And I want you to just get familiar with the movement of those moving averages. And then once you become comfortable with that, so on the monitor, as you're say walking by, when I say glance at it, just start to, get a feel for what are the moving averages doing. And then if there is a crossover in either direction, and if you're not familiar with a crossover, don't worry about it because again, I have that embedded in these videos that I did, and I will clearly share with you what that actually looks like so you can see that. So then once you know that, when you're glancing at this monitor, just look at it and ask yourself, what would you be doing or what is this doing? And then when you start to get good at it, start to predict what the future might hold. For example, is this a time where you want to make an entry? Or is this a time when you want to think about selling as an example? So just in closing, if you do this for 2 weeks to 4 weeks, I guarantee you're going to see hundreds of these crossover, both bullish and bearish patterns. But if you were to do this on the daily, 3-day, or the weekly, it would literally take you months, if not years, to see these patterns repeat and repeat. And that's why on the 3 minutes, and I learned this by accident years ago. This will really help you accelerate your learning curve because you're going to see these patterns repeat, repeat. And this right here is a little audiogram that I created called Accelerate Your Learning Curve. And I think this is just a few minutes, maybe 3 minutes, but I go into depth and talk about this hack in terms of how to do this properly. So here's another video that I created. And this one's probably 20 minutes. But I originally did this video on my YouTube channel, which I just recently started, but I call it demystifying a technical analysis. And what I mean by that is how mainstream media, as an example, they make it sound like if you want to become a trader, you have to have a PhD in mathematics, or you got to be a quant, just as an example. They make it sound so mysterious, and it could not be farther from the truth. So in this video, I talk about how to demystify what mainstream media has been ingraining in our brains really since we've been on this planet. But then as you get to the tail end of the video, I go live in TradingView and I share with you what to look for as an example in the trend trading system. When you watch this, it's a little slow to start with. However, it really starts to pick up and I really do. I bring it all together in the end of this video. So I highly encourage you to watch this at some point when you are ready. Patience. This is not one of my strengths, but this is critical to your success. And just real quick on this, because I created another video on this. So here's the Twitter version of what I'm trying to relay in this video. Number one, I've always thought, I've had this perception that trading is like being a trader on the in the pit on Wall Street, like at the NASDAQ, and it's just chaos. All right, everybody's yelling and screaming, blah, blah, blah. That could not be farther from the truth. And for those of you that are new into trading and you're going to be a swing trader, trading on the 3-day and the weekly, as an example, depending on your risk tolerance, right here. See this photographer? This person, he or she, they clearly, they have patience. In some cases, there's some photographers that will hang out in the wilderness for weeks, months, and seasons, as an example. And I just talk about how patience and the correlation of what trading really is and what it should be. So as an example, trading, it really should be boring. And I touched on this a little bit, but with our trend trading system, literally, the trade will come to you. Not only that, this will talk about in our trend trading system how to completely avoid the FOMO, the fear of missing out or chasing these green candles. So in terms of kind of the trend trading system itself per se, we've covered that. And again, we skimmed the surface because with these embedded videos, that's where we go into depth, we cover a wide surface area. And so that will really be helpful in terms of explaining and helping you with your understanding. So now let's talk about risk management. Here's what I want you to think about. So I've got this kind of this gambling, this Las Vegas theme in the background. And here's what I want you to envision. If you were going to go to Las Vegas, and this was a big trip for you, let's say that it took you a year or two in the making, meaning, hey, you booked your trip like a year out, and you're going to be there for, say, 4 days, as an example. And you're saving money for that trip to gamble. So now, let's say that year has arrived, and you just got off the flight, and you're in Vegas now, checked into your hotel, okay? And you're on the floor of the casino, and you walk up to your first slot machine. Would you put all of your money that you have saved for this trip to gamble in the slot machine? 100% of it. I'm hoping the answer is no. If the answer is yes, I don't know if trading is for you, but here's my point. I want you to think of trading like a slot machine. You need to be afraid of it because it literally will rob you and steal you blind. It'll take every cent you have in seconds. So let's round out the risk management. I absolutely love this concept. So here is that surfer's kind of correlation, the surfer's mentality. So I put together a video. It's about 1 minute and 40 seconds. But I'm calling this Ride the Waves of Success, Surfing Meets Trading. And in this video, every word matters. And this is the thing I want you to zero in on, is when you are trading, think of like you're out there surfing. And I won't give it away, but if you could, this is probably the most important thing when it comes to risk management. Sure, the slot machine, but I also just absolutely love this surfer's mentality and the correlation to trading. Now, when you're ready to bring it all together, the value of paper trading to gain experience without risk. So this is a really cool feature of TradingView, and you get a feel for the market and you can learn from your mistakes. So within TradingView, you can learn how to trade properly without any money. And this is why I call it the gamification of paper trading. So again, here's another video from TradingView, and this is a great one. It's very concise, and it only talks about how to set up the paper trading within TradingView, and then also what to look for and how to use it properly. But before you go live with your own money, you can literally test your skill set, test your mindset, test your risk management and see how good you are with your surfer's mentality. So as I mentioned, literally, this is a 4-week online course. So in just 4 weeks, you literally can gain the financial clarity you need to make informed decisions that will secure your future. You're not going to be a professional trader, but I can tell you this, if you don't know anything about trading, you're going to be 90% better than what you were without knowing anything by going through this 4-week course. So let's talk about this real quick. So week 1, I'm calling this, there's one word to describe it, absorb. And I think during that first week, if you spend, by the way, if you spend an hour a day, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, just going through this material for that first week, there's going to be a lot. It's like learning a new language or a new ecosystem. So just let it sink in, let it absorb in. And then on week number 2, these learnings and finding, they'll begin to make sense. But do me a favor, just honestly, don't overcomplicate things. Don't overcomplicate the process. And what I mean by the process is you're going to start to understand, you're going to start to process things. It's going to make more sense. And as you learn, as an example, the 2 moving averages on the 3-day time frame as an example, you're going to see it's really simple. And you're going to be asking yourself, what else is there? But this is not complicated. And that's exactly why I decided to use the core part of this trend trading system to share that with you. Then on the 3rd week, I think you're going to start to understand things. It's going to start to come together. But this is key. Remember that 3-minute hack? It's right around that 3-minute or that 3-week time frame is where, if you really want to accelerate your learning curve, the hack on that 3-minute, get that going as soon as you can. Because if you can do that, the trend trading system, it's really meant to be simple, trust the process, but you need to train your eyes on that 3-minute hack. And once you train your eyeballs, you're going to be much more confident in what you have learned. And then on week 4, if you do this properly, like an hour a day, give or take 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, you can apply your learnings with the paper trading. And then I would say in closing, this sincerely, I ran this by my parents who are getting into their late 70s. And when I shared this with them, they got it. So again, you could go from knowing nothing to really knowing a lot with just a few simple things. Can you go work on Wall Street? No. However, I can tell you this, you're going to definitely avoid these massive corrections like Bitcoin just got out of. It's like the second biggest correction of all time. And with our trend trading system, by the way, you would have sold 10% from the top versus this, I think it went down to an 80-some% correction. So again, this system is really simple. And I think right around that 4th week, you're going to be able to apply it. All right, so let's talk now about the why. The 4th Industrial Revolution is not an event in the distant future. It's happening now. So at the core of the 4th Industrial Revolution, these are these disruptive technologies. Think of ARK Invest, if you're familiar with Cathie Woods. They're all about this disruptive tech. So that includes like AI, machine learning, a virtual and augmented reality, automation, and advanced manufacturing techniques like 3D printing. So this wave of change is altering the demands and expectations of the buildings and the cities we work and live in. It's ultimately revolutionizing work itself and the very meaning of work. So there is a 35-page position paper from the World Economic Forum that they created in January of 23 in collaboration with McKinsey and Company. So it's a good introductory high level in terms of what this 4th Industrial Revolution looks like. So it's a really good introductory if you're new to this idea, what the WEF in terms of the 4th Industrial Revolution is literally pushing. So let's talk about this system. So here's what it brings you. So the trend trading system will bring you clarity in times of complexity. So number 1, this trend trading system provides clarity and direction in a market that can often be chaotic and unpredictable. It will literally give you a set of rules to follow so you don't have to rely on guesswork, intuition, mainstream media, or social media. And then in terms of a roadmap, this trend trading system provides a roadmap for your trading. It'll literally tell you when to enter and when to exit your trades and how much to risk. This will give you some confidence, especially in this decade. And then in terms of a legacy, the trend trading system can create a legacy for you as a trader. So this decade, you could literally create a legacy for yourself and for your family and the future generations. Real quick on this, when I say take advantage of this, I mentioned this briefly at the top of the video, but ESG, according to Bloomberg, so ESG assets may hit $53 trillion by the year 2025. So this would be a third of all global assets under management. So this basically means that 1 out of every 3 assets globally are going to be ESG related. It's not official, but I have a good feeling about who's behind this or what is behind this. The World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, he is the founder of the WEF. And here is a quote for a headline that I wanted to share with you. Not a quote, but a headline. And it says, the founder of the World Economic Forum explains why a new mindset is giving him hope for climate action and shares which companies are getting it right. So basically, what this is saying is that he's actually shaming countries as well instead of companies. But he talks a lot about how China, the CCP, and Canada, as an example, are his poster childs for countries to follow. And then he talks about like Salesforce.com, these companies, as the poster child to follow. And by the way, I did a video on ESG and how executives are being comped and their annual bonus. It's fascinating. So the enterprises, like the CEOs and the C-suites, the S&P 500, they are also pushing and driving this as well. If you have made it this far, thank you for sticking around. And if you have any questions or comments and you want to reach out to me, I've included my Calendly link. If you want to schedule 15 minutes with me, there's no charge. You can ask anything, comment on anything, but feel free. Hop on in and grab 15 minutes with me, and I look forward to meeting you, as well as hopefully I can provide some clarity or any help that you need to make you feel more comfortable. And then in closing, here is the disclaimer. So please read through this.